August 11th, Monday, Mathew 17:22 to 27. In today's Gospel, we see for the second time Jesus warning his disciples about what is to come, his suffering, death, and resurrection. We are told that the disciples are overwhelmed with grief over what Jesus says. Whether that is purely out of sorrow for Jesus or whether it represents their disillusionment is hard to say. This was not the kind of end they were expecting for the coming of the Messiah. The second part of today's reading is a peculiar scene, only to be found in Matthew. The collectors of the temple tax want to know whether Jesus pays it or not. Peter assures them that he does. Roman citizens didn't pay Roman taxes. Only citizens of nations subject to Rome had to pay Roman taxes. So too, the members of a king's family didn't have to pay taxes levied by the king. In that case, Jesus says, the sons, that is, he and his disciples, should be exempt from paying the temple tax. After all, the temple is God's house, and Jesus is his son, and his disciples are his brothers, sons of the same father. But to avoid giving scandal and misunderstanding, Peter is told to catch a fish in whose mouth he will find a shekel, enough to pay taxes for both of them. A half shekel was levied each year on all Jewish males of 20 years or older. It was for the upkeep of the temple. A half shekel at this time was roughly equivalent to 2 days' wages. This passage seems to reflect a dilemma of the early church. In fact, a double dilemma. Should Christians who are Jews continue to pay the temple tax? And should Christians in general have to pay tax to a Roman government, especially one whose emperor claims to be a deity? The first dilemma solved itself in time, especially with the destruction of the temple. The second dilemma took longer. The problem seems to have been solved by the principle laid down elsewhere by Jesus. Give therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Dear friends, we too have to discern what is legitimately required of us by our governments and make our contribution to the needs of our society, while at the same time not compromising on issues where universal principles of truth and justice are at stake. Civil disobedience is sometimes not only a right but also a responsibility. Wishing you a good day, Father Paul, CSSR from Bangalore.